the people in charge don't want to get fired, more so than they're looking to do something great. So they want to kind of, you know, follow a set of rules that somehow like get set in stone that don't really translate. But as long as they follow them, they're not going to lose their job.
Vince Vaughn just took a bold stand against woke Hollywood, and trust me, they are not happy about it. The actor, known for classic comedies like Wedding Crashers, Old School, and The Breakup, is speaking out on how woke culture is strangling comedy. Vaughn didn't hold back. He pointed out that the once raucous, boundary-pushing films we used to love are becoming a rarity. And he knows exactly why.
What about your sister?
My sister's been through a lot.
Of dick.
Hollywood executives are terrified, afraid of risking their careers and terrified of getting canceled, rather than taking creative chances that could bring fresh, edgy humor back to the big screen. Vaughn sees this fear as the root of the problem. He joked, "It's like trying to do geometry and calling 87 degrees a right angle. Everything's just off from there." In other words, the rules Hollywood now follows are so disconnected from reality that it's impossible to make genuinely funny movies.
Now stay with me. You put a bar in over there, right? A couple lazy boys, fill it out. You definitely need a smarter couch. You can put a hot tub almost anywhere in this place.
So why don't we get those hilarious, no-holds-barred R-rated comedies anymore? According to Vaughn, people still want to laugh at edgy, wild stuff. What's changed is the industry's willingness to take risks. Instead of creating original, daring content, studios are hiding behind the safety net of familiar intellectual property, IP. Vaughn is baffled by this shift, asking, what happened to making movies about real life, universal experiences like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or 16 Candles? These were films everyone could relate to, and they didn't need a pre-existing fan base to succeed.
How have you seen Hollywood's interest in making those kinds of films change over the course of your career, and what do you think are the forces at play?
I think it's crazy. You get these rules. It's like if you did geometry and you said 87 degrees was a right angle, then all your answers were messed up instead of 90 degrees.
Yet today, Vaughn observes, studios are more interested in churning out films based on board games, comic books, or even toys. It's safe, predictable, and risk-averse, and for Hollywood executives, it's a way to avoid backlash. Vaughn criticized this trend, noting that while there's nothing wrong with IP-driven movies, they've become a crutch, an excuse to avoid creativity. Even when these movies flop, executives can point to the IP and say, "Hey, we played it safe." It's all about protecting themselves, not delivering great cinema.
You've recently said that studios are too scared to make raunchy comedies these days. Why is that?
What I was saying is, you know, what's happened is these studios kind of have a set of rules that they follow because they're really trying not to get fired. You get in trouble.
But Vaughn believes the bigger issue is Hollywood's fear of offending anyone. People want to laugh at things that feel dangerous or push the envelope, he said. The problem is, Hollywood seems more focused on making sure no one gets upset than on being funny or innovative. The result? Safe, boring movies that all blend together. Vaughn's frustration is palpable. Why can't we just make movies that reflect real life, that everyone can relate to?
You don't see them taking as many chances now. And I think that's just in general. There's a lot more risk aversion in the green light process.
As Hollywood continues to lean on IP and play it safe, Vaughn is calling for a return to comedy that takes risks and pushes boundaries. After all, as he sees it, that's what made comedy great in the first place. The question is, will Hollywood listen, or will the fear of woke culture continue to stifle creativity? Stay tuned because things in Tinseltown are about to get heated.
Whereas like an IP like John Hughes from our neck of the woods, right? An IP was a girl's turning 16. Like every girl turns 16. Or I'm gonna cut school. You know, situations. Or Old School. What if I got to go back and, you know, be in a fraternity now at this stage of the game? There she is, the wonderful lady. Personality plus all the time. Every time I come in here, nothing but smiles for me. Dinner at the Apollo.
Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle are two comedians who have repeatedly found themselves at odds with today's hypersensitive culture, where a single joke can lead to a media firestorm. Both have been targeted by the so-called social justice mob, accused of stepping over the line for doing what comedians are meant to do: make us laugh even if it's uncomfortable. In Rogan's case, he was labeled a creep over what amounted to mild flirtations, a reminder of how easily people are villainized today.
And then the social justice mob came for him over something.
Over almost nothing.
Right.
Over
right.
him trying to get laid. I mean, like they were saying he was a creep or something like that. Just hitting on girls.
I'm gonna try to take everything away from you. And I don't care when I find out. Could be today, tomorrow, 15, 20 years from now. If I find out, you're fucking finished. Who's that?
I think it's more rewarding now for audiences when you do something fucked up because they know there's consequences. They know that it's you know, Ari said something that I always repeat is that comedy's dangerous again.
But despite the backlash, Rogan continues to be a towering figure in comedy, using his platform to deliver raw, unfiltered humor that often leaves Twitter in an uproar. His material ranges from controversial political opinions to absurd conspiracy theories, and audiences can't seem to get enough. Whether it's vaccine skepticism or outrageous claims like not believing we landed on the moon, Rogan thrives on pushing boundaries. He once joked, "Before COVID, I thought vaccines were one of the greatest inventions in human history. Now I'm questioning everything. Did we even go to the moon? Does Michelle Obama have a secret?"
Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
These kinds of provocative jokes walk a fine line, but they also tap into a hunger that many feel for comedy that doesn't tiptoe around sensitive topics. Rogan himself has said that in today's world, comedy feels dangerous again. There's an undeniable thrill when a comedian dares to say something that might get them canceled. The stakes are higher, which makes the laughs all the more satisfying for audiences who are tired of walking on eggshells. Vince Vaughn, another bold voice in the conversation, has echoed these sentiments, expressing concern over the current state of entertainment. He points out that Hollywood has shifted dramatically in recent years, becoming too cautious and unwilling to take risks. Where are the R-rated comedies that once dominated theaters? Vaughn argues that Hollywood's obsession with not offending anyone has stifled creativity. He's right. Mainstream films have become predictable, sterile, and watered down in a desperate attempt to appeal to the widest audience possible. Even hits like Deadpool and Wolverine, which did push the envelope a little, still had to tread carefully around edgy humor. The shift is undeniable, but Vaughn is optimistic that this won't last forever. He believes audiences are beginning to push back, tired of content that's afraid to offend or challenge them. The success of comedians like Rogan, Chappelle, and even Netflix's stand-up specials proves that there is still a strong demand for humor that isn't afraid to go there. Kevin Hart, another heavyweight in the comedy scene, has joked that if people are going to criticize him on social media, they should at least spell his name right, showing how some comedians are able to find humor even in the face of constant backlash.
If I've offended anybody tonight and you're going to go on social media and besmirch me, at least pronounce my name correctly, Kevin Hart.
The bigger question is whether Hollywood will adapt. Vaughn argues that the industry has become too disconnected from its audience, too focused on playing it safe rather than creating content that resonates emotionally, even if that means making people uncomfortable. For years, Hollywood has been bending over backward to avoid controversy, but that strategy is backfiring. The very audience they've been trying not to offend is growing disillusioned with the bland, predictable movies being churned out year after year. People don't want sanitized content. They want something real, something that feels genuine, even if it comes with a little sting. If Hollywood doesn't shift gears, they risk becoming even more out of touch. Audiences are clearly hungry for a return to the kind of daring, provocative comedy that challenges societal norms and isn't afraid to push buttons. Vaughn is hopeful that the industry will wake up to this reality before it's too late, but he's also aware that the woke culture dominating the film world won't collapse overnight. So, will Hollywood finally recognize that audiences are craving more than just safe, inoffensive content? Or will the fear of cancel culture continue to stifle creativity? The future of comedy and film in general might depend on whether the industry can shed its fear of offending the wrong crowd and start focusing on what really matters, making people laugh even if it means breaking a few rules. What do you think? Is Vince Vaughn right about woke culture's negative impact on comedy? Are we on the cusp of a new comedy renaissance, or is Hollywood too far gone to course correct? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Hollywood's battle with woke culture.